All right, what's going on YouTube? My name is Tyler Self, and today we're going to be talking about picking a brokerage to host your Roth IRA. Let's get right into the video. All right, like I said, today I'm going to be sharing with you 4 different brokerages that you can pick to actually open a Roth IRA account with. If you're confused about what a Roth IRA actually is or the advantages of having one and how that can positively impact your financial future, I have a video that I will leave linked right here that actually goes over in-depth power of opening up a Roth IRA. But what a Roth IRA is in a nutshell is essentially just a tax-advantaged retirement account where you put money in that has already been taxed through your paycheck or whatever else, and by the time that you retire at a set date and take the money out, all of that money, all of the earnings that you've accumulated over time, that will all be tax-free when you actually withdraw it later down the line. But yeah, I would highly encourage you to go check out that video. I really go in depth and show some different examples of what it would look like if you maxed it out every year and so forth, as well as just kind of explaining in general what it is. But yeah, today we're gonna actually just specifically be talking about the brokerage itself. And it's a really difficult decision these days because now in 2021, the market's getting super competitive and everybody is trying to, make themselves as comparable and marketable as possible. And some of the ways that they do that, a lot of these features, a lot of these different factors will overlap. But with that being said, here are some of the factors that you should take into consideration when choosing a brokerage for your Roth IRA or other investment needs. Some of these factors include startup minimums and fees. So how much does it cost to actually open the account? As well as commissions and annual fees for managing your money, basically. So some companies will literally say like, you have to give us X amount or X% a year just to have your money in this account. So that's another thing to look out for. Another thing to consider is actually the ease of use of the interface, both on mobile and PC or computer. And last but not least, you're gonna need a good customer support around you. In case something ever happens with your account, if something gets compromised or you're needing help with your investments, or trying to just get information about what's going on with something, you really need good customer support. That kind of is just standard these days for anything that you're looking to do. But now let's go ahead and start talking about the brokerages themselves. And I must preface this by saying that most of the brokerages are relatively comparable in this market, and it ultimately will come down to what you think is the best. You will have to form your own opinion based on different factors. You can do your own research and look up different reviews. I will share at the end of this video the one that I personally use and why, so stay tuned for that. But just had to throw that little kind of disclaimer in there beforehand that you really can't go wrong. Doing something is better than doing nothing. So at the end of the day, it's your financial future, it's your life, and whether you choose to do something with it or keep standing on the sidelines and watching YouTube videos, that ultimately comes down to your decision. But without further ado, let's start talking about the actual brokerages. The first brokerage that we're actually gonna talk about today is Charles Schwab. Now, Charles Schwab is actually ranked #1 on the list of Roth IRA brokerages based on bankrate.com, and for a good reason too. They have 0 fees or commissions, and they also offer a $0 account minimum for starting. They also offer really awesome customer support from what I've seen and noticed myself. They have a great customer support system around them, which again is super important in case anything comes up in the future that you may need support for. And they also offer what's called a robo-advisor, which would be perfect for kind of a hands-off, passive approach where you just put money into it, and then the robo-advisor will actually delegate that money and help allocate it to the most efficient places. That feature is actually available with a $0 management fee. So that's super, super important. $0 management fee for the robo-advisor feature. Now there is a catch with that. You need at least a minimum of $5,000 as of right now in that account in order to utilize that robo-advisor feature. But even with that, it's really, really important that you keep in mind that as little fees as possible is what we're really looking for. And we want to try to prevent as much of our money from being taken from us as we possibly can. That's why looking for fees is super, super important. Now, number 2 on my list is actually Fidelity. Now, Fidelity was the first brokerage that I actually ever had, and I really liked it. Again, it has a $0 minimum start fee for opening the account. You can open it completely free of charge. It also has 0 annual commissions or fees for managing your money. And the other really awesome thing is they offer really, really low rates for their ETFs and index funds. And they're really trying to take control of the market here by introducing these low cost ETF fees. And another interesting thing about Fidelity is they're very, very beginner friendly. They have a lot of really cool features once you get your account made. You can find on their website, including some various types of financial calculators that I've used pretty often. But that's Fidelity in a nutshell. Honestly, it was the first one that I personally had, and I have very few complaints with that brokerage. I really liked it so far. Now, next on our list is one of the biggest names out there. I'm sure you already know who they are, but it is actually Vanguard. Now, they have been sort of the staple name brand for ETFs and indexes for many years now. They pride themselves on having really, really great customer service, which again is super important. And you can also make an account for $0 fees and 0 startup fee. And this again would be an excellent brokerage for the whole kind of buy and hold strategy, where you're just gonna be shoving money in over time, week by week, month by month, and watching that build up over time with really more of a passive approach. Now, I will say the one major con that I've personally noticed with Vanguard is their interface is not super beginner friendly. It's pretty challenging, I'm not gonna lie. Their mobile app is really not the best in my opinion. Honestly, if you're gonna use Vanguard, you're gonna be doing most of your stuff on the computer. That's just kind of how it is, unfortunately. But they do make up for it with their low cost index funds and ETFs, as well as their second to none customer service. So all 3 of these, between Fidelity, Vanguard, Charles Schwab, all of those would be excellent places for you to open your first Roth IRA account. Now, number 4 on our list, this is actually the brokerage that I am currently using as of right now, 2021, today. This is the brokerage that I'm using, and it is actually M1 Finance. Now, M1 Finance is actually relatively new in comparison to some of these other brokerages featured in this video, and I totally understand if that kind of steers you away from them. You know, Vanguard, for example, has been one of the longest names in the game for many years, but I have chosen M1 Finance for very specific reasons. Again, same kind of thing with the other brokerages. They have a great customer support. If I send an email, I usually get one back within a few hours during business days. Otherwise, I'll get it pretty early in the morning the following day. They also, again, offer 0 startup minimums. So you can start with $0 in the account and go from there. Now, one thing that's super interesting and unique about M1 Finance, and this is honestly one of the major reasons that I've considered them, is for the way that they allow you to diversify your portfolio. They offer a feature that I've never seen anything like in any other brokerage, and it is actually investing through a concept called pies. So you take a pie chart with individual slices, and each slice is actually your allocation. And this really kind of, at least in my mind, simplifies it for me so much. I can see exactly what percentage of my money is going where, and it's really interesting. You can customize the pies however you want, so long as it adds up to 100% in the end. And I would say personally that investing with the allocation strategy and the diversification of utilizing the pie feature, I think is really ideal for somebody who's just getting started and can get a little bit overwhelmed with it. I think that M1 Finance has done a fantastic job with simplifying the process, as well as giving people a visual and very simple understanding of where their money's going and how investing actually works. Now, my personal investing strategy, this is just the personal strategy that I've been using for the past few years now, and it's worked well for me. But keep in mind, my approach with investing is super long-term, very passive and low risk. If you're looking for something a little higher risk, I'll get into some ways that you can do that in a later video. So essentially what I have is 70% of my portfolio allocated to the S&P 500 ETF. And next to that, I have 15% of my portfolio allocated to the total stock market index. So that is, of course, covering the entirety of the stock market. The S&P 500 is essentially just the top 500 performing companies. And now next to that, I have 10% of my portfolio allocated to bonds. And the reason I use bonds is because bonds are a notoriously kind of safe bet for investing. If your portfolio is predominantly just stocks and no bonds, no REITs, anything like that, you're a lot more considered risky in terms of what you're investing in. If you diversify your portfolio, it's really ideal. Warren Buffett talks about diversification and the importance of that a lot. And I've taken note with that, and that's why I choose to invest the way that I do. So I have 10% of my portfolio allocated strictly to bond ETFs. And last but not least, I have 5% of my portfolio allocated to international ETFs. And the reason for this is obviously there's more money being made than just in America through the S&P 500 and everything. So I would like part of my portfolio covering international areas as well. And that doesn't just isolate my portfolio to just being in the United States. That way I have partial ownership basically in everything. That's the whole idea here. Trying to diversify myself and make it to where regardless of how the years go, I will constantly be headed up. And that is the whole goal with my personal investing strategy. And I would consider my personal investment strategy mildly aggressive. So the reason it's not aggressive, again, is because I have bonds in my portfolio and I'm predominantly just ETFs. So I don't have any just normal stocks. I don't have anything like that. I strictly have ETFs, index funds, and bonds. Now, if you think that you would like to consider a more aggressive approach, you could consider dropping the bonds to a lower percent. You could even go literally as far as 2% bonds, something like that. Then allocate more of your portfolio to actual stocks. There's a great option for you there if you're looking to be more aggressive, but keep in mind, the more aggressive you are, the more likely you are to risk losing your money. But if you're playing the long game, that may not be bad because the stock market, it will go up, it will go down, but generally speaking, you really cannot go wrong with doing something. That's what I want to try to convey with you guys this video. Do something. But that's how you would be a little bit more aggressive. If you would like to be less aggressive, you're more just concerned about the long-term steady state gains with your portfolio. Then you would consider maybe going even as high as 20% in bonds, and you could throw in some real estate REITs also. REITs are a great option and they usually offer pretty good dividends with a lot of them as well. So you could invest in some REITs in your portfolio as well. The whole concept of customizing it for your desires and your needs is what's really just super exciting. Being able to try different things and yeah, maybe sometimes mess up, maybe sometimes have to change the way that you're investing. But ultimately, it's a whole journey and we're all on this journey together, and that's what's super exciting. And again, I cannot reiterate this enough. Doing something is better than doing nothing. Start today, start right now. And one thing I forgot to mention about M1 Finance is if you actually would like to consider investing with M1 Finance, I actually have a link that I will leave linked down in the description below that you can click on, and basically what it will do, if you sign up using my link, it is a referral link, so it will give you a free $30 to start your investing. And guess what? You really cannot beat free. So free money is awesome. Help a brother out and help yourselves out too. So go ahead, click that link, get your $30 and start investing today. Guys, I would highly encourage each and every one of you watching this to seriously consider investing in the stock market. It is an exciting journey, and yes, sometimes it's scary, sometimes it's intimidating, but at the end of the day, you have goals for your life, you have a vision for where you want to be, and you have to decide what will help you get there. If you think that chasing financial freedom, chasing the independence of being able to not have to rely on your job and having multiple forms of income helping you in creating a more prosperous and enjoyable and stress-free life for yourself, why would you not take that opportunity? But yeah, guys, anyway, that's gonna wrap it up for this video. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you who stuck around till the very end. And if you did, please don't forget to give it a fat thumbs up. It really helps me out with making these videos, and it tells me if you guys are actually enjoying them or not. And if you did enjoy the video and think you'd like to see more, go ahead and consider hitting that subscribe button. I try to make semi-frequent videos here on YouTube about anything ranging from personal development, finance, mindset, lifestyle, whatever you're thinking about, whatever can help you in your life. That's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to help both myself and you. So thank you guys so much for watching. Like always, this has been Tyler Self, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace out.